Hello everybody, this is Ali with Ali So Crafty. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we create beautiful things together. In today's video, I am going to share with you a free pattern from Huff and Cuffs, and it is the Koda Crossbody bag. This is my go-to crossbody bag when I'm in need of one. And I was in need of one, and I decided to make this bag. It is the perfect size. It's not too big, it's not too small. It fits exactly what I need. It's a basic pattern. It truly is a basic pattern. You can make a lot of modifications to this pattern, and it is a great beginner's pattern as well. And today I'm going to show you how I made this one specifically. Now, this is a free pattern. You can find the link down in the description. I am not an affiliate, so, she doesn't even know I'm making this video. She also has a YouTube channel where she has instructions on how to make this bag as well. So go ahead and check it out. I'm adding the description to her channel down below as well. But I made some modifications to this pattern because the original only has a front zipper and it has no pockets on the inside. I did not add any pockets on the inside, but I added two zippers, two fronts. So it's one in the front and one in the back. You really don't know where the front and the back is unless you put a tag or something. But that's the modification I decided to do on this bag. So today I'm going to show you how I made this bag only following the written pattern. Her instructions are so clear that I never really had to look at her videos. In fact, I didn't know she had videos until I decided to record this one, and I decided to look her on YouTube to see if she had a channel, and sure enough, it's in there. But her instructions are so clear. I've made this same bag, I don't know, tens of times already. I've made it quilted. I've made it with just solid cotton fabric. I have made it now with some vinyl and cotton fabric. So like I said, this is my go-to bag to make when I'm in need of a crossbody bag. You can follow along the entire video, or you can click on the specific timestamp, and I've put those in the description so that you can jump to a specific point of the construction of this bag that you want to see. You can watch, like I said, the whole video, or just click on the timestamp. Everything is down in the description. And before I go on, remember to please like this video if at any point you like what you see, and subscribe to my channel so that you can get notifications when I upload the next project. Now, the materials I used for this bag, as you can see, is this fun vinyl. It's a home decor vinyl. I bought this at Joann, and it's actually really thin, so it was easy to use on my Yuki. And I think that this could be also an easy material to use for a domestic sewing machine, like not a semi-industrial like the one I have, but if you have more like a singer or a brother, you could probably get away with this vinyl. It's really thin. I'll put the link down below. Again, I'm not an affiliate of Joann, but I do go there a lot, so I'll put the link down below. And the top fabric is cotton, 100% cotton fabric. In her pattern, she recommends that you use vinyl, cork, canvas, anything like that. So any heavy duty material. And she doesn't use any interfacing. So I, because I have this piece right here that is cotton, I used fusible fleece instead for the top part of the bag. But the rest doesn't have any interfacing or foam or Decoville heavy, anything, nothing. It's simply the vinyl, the lining, and just a little piece of fusible fleece for the top. I made the straps that you can double-sided like that, so that you can, because I wanted to make the straps with this fun, colorful material, but I thought it was gonna be too much going on between here and then the straps. And so I said, well, I can do double, the straps double. So I decided to make them, you know, the front in vinyl and the back with the cotton fabric. And I have the instructions on how to do that in my right here in my channel. I add the link also to that. And so this made it, gave it like a fun touch to the straps of this bag. Another modification I made from this on this bag is that I added, because the bag doesn't have any pockets on the inside, I went ahead and added this key strap that has a swivel hook here at the bottom. And that helps keep the keys in place, you know, so that way I don't lose them in the bottom of the bag. And I added a couple of stitches here so that I can have my glasses, maybe a pen. You can add slip pockets to this, and I have done it before. They're really simple and it will add extra storage inside the bag. But if you don't want to and you want to do it like I did, go ahead and make a little key strap here. And as you can see, I used the fusible vinyl for the lining because I didn't want my lining to get dirty. I'm not sure if I'm happy with the look of this, but I will try another fusible vinyl next time, maybe the matte, not the glossy. But other than that, that's how the inside of the bag looks. Okay, you guys, so here it is. Let's make the Koda Crossbody bag. Okay, so now we're going to make the front pocket. And the way she explains it, she says to go ahead and with the zipper, the right side facing you, you take the lining, the pocket lining, and you align it, right? So the widest part of your lining. So to me, that was a little confusing. I'll be honest with you. I know this is my front, and I know I want to be able to see this with my zipper this way, right? So what I'm going to do is that I take the front, the right side facing me, and I take this zipper and I flip it down with the wrong side facing me. So both right sides together, but I align it here to the top, and then I fold it down and I pin it. Don't use pins, use just a clip or paper clips or whatever, but don't use pins, okay? If you're using vinyl. And the reason why is because when I'm done with it, I want it to look like that. So this is my way of being able to tell, making sure that it is going to be the right way when I put it under the needle. Then I'm going to take my widest part of my pocket lining, and I'm going to also sandwich here the zipper with it, with the front, the lining, and the zipper. Okay, so you're just going to match it all up right here, make it look good. So when you open it, this is how it's going to look. So you want to make sure, you want to verify that your zipper is the right direction, that it's, you know, the teeth are facing the front of the bag and not the back, etc., before you run it through the sewing machine. Believe me, ask me how I know. I make that mistake constantly. So this is a trick that I use to help me, and hopefully it will help you. So here we are. When I start stitching, you have the zipper pull. You can just move it up and down as needed. That way you can have room to stitch the zipper together with the front and the pocket. We're going to stitch this at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and the stitch length will be 3 millimeters or maybe 3.5, and only because of the vinyl. Beautiful. Now we can just press it a little bit like that. Of course, with vinyl, you don't want to use any heat, so you can use your fingers. Okay. You can also use a little tool like this one. This is a rolling tool. I don't know what it's called. It's Clover, the brand, but it's used to press your seams and make them flat when you cannot iron them, like in this case. So it's not going to be perfect, but it's better than nothing. Okay, now we're going to top stitch this, right, to make it look nice. And what I do is that I keep my fabric together here to make sure that it doesn't move, and I'm top stitching it correctly. And we're going to top stitch this. Actually, I would do almost 4 millimeters, and it's going to be a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Next, we're going to take the pocket lining, and we're going to match it to the top of the zipper tape like this. Okay. And this is making our pocket. This is a pretty easy way, really, to make a front zipper pocket. It really is. Okay. Now we're going to take the top part of our purse, and again, we're going to align it to matching the raw edges of the zipper tape with the raw edge of the top panel. And again, you know, this time the zipper, the right side of the zipper is looking at you. So you want to take the right side of your top main panel facing down, and you're going to align it to the zipper tape right here. And of course you want to test and make sure that this is how you want it to look, right? So if you're happy with how it looks, then you can finish it up and continue stitching it. Like this right here. I like how it looks. I'm happy. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move my zipper pull away, and I'm going to lower my stitching to like 3.5 or 3, and I'm going to join the top main panel to the zipper using 1/8 of an inch, a 1/4 inch, sorry, a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a 3mm stitch length. Okay, I'm getting close to my zipper pull, so I stop, the needle's down, and I just push the zipper pull away to the other side of the zipper, and I continue. When I get to the end, I back stitch to secure my stitching. So now we're going to do the same thing. You can, at this point, well, I'm using cotton fabric here, so I could pull the iron and press it, heat, use the heat, but I'll be honest with you, I'm a little lazy, and I already have this little tool out. So I'm just going to press it like this with a little rolling tool. I'm going to increase my stitch length to like 4. And even, well, no, actually 3.5. I'm going to leave it at 3.5. This is fabric and it's top stitching. And actually, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, here it is. So this is my front pocket. It could be the back too, because I'm going to do this bag looking the same way, both front and back. But this is how it will look, the pocket in the back. You can make this deeper too, you can make the pocket a little bit deeper by increasing the length of the pocket by a couple of inches. You don't want it too long that it will kind of, get caught here at the bottom when you're stitching the back together. But if you want your pockets to be a little bit deeper, that's one way you can make a modification to this pattern. Okay, next thing is actually I'm going to make the exact same process now for the other side of the purse. Again, if you were making the original, you wouldn't have to worry about this because it's just one whole piece. But I want extra pockets, so I'm going to go ahead and do this exact same thing, but with the other zipper. Okay, so to finish up this piece for this bag, we're going to stitch the basting stitch, which is like about 4mm at a 1/8 seam allowance. And we're going to go all the way down making sure to catch the pocket lining here, okay, the fabric here for the pocket. Now let's continue by attaching the top zipper to the bag. And she teaches a pretty interesting way of doing this. She says to take your lining piece, which is this piece right here, and she says to attach the zipper and the tab with your D-ring or O-ring. I'm just using this is like the strap. I'm just gonna use two of them. But anyway, she says to take your lining, the right side, and you're going to attach the zipper this way. So the right side facing you, and the zipper pull, to the left. I mean to the right. Sorry, to the right. And to do a basting at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So you're just gonna baste it, 4 millimeter baste. And then you're gonna take the tab for your strap and baste it there too. Now this is really long. It's supposed to be maybe like an inch, but I am going to place it there and then I'll trim it. So I'm going to follow the instructions the way she says. Be honest, I usually don't do it that way. I usually attach my zipper to the exterior part of the bag, and the zipper will be actually facing down, so like right sides together, and then I sandwich the lining to the front or to the exterior. Sorry, or to the exterior of the bag, but we're gonna do it this way now. We're going to do it attaching it to the lining first. And I have my stitching at 4 millimeter stitch length. And I'm going to do the zipper first, and then I'm going to baste the tab for the strap. Okay, see, now it's good. So now I'm going to take my tab and I'm going to place it. You'll find, the right way if you notice that your tab has a special like design or something. Obviously the right side's facing down. But this one is pretty simple, so I'm just going to place it right there. It's good, I guess. So you just want to have enough room, about an inch from the seam to where your D-ring or O-ring is. And here we're basting again. I just didn't want to baste both of them together, even though the instructions say to do that. I just didn't want to. Okay, so here it is. Now she says to take one of your exterior pieces, and the right side's facing you. You're going to take your lining with the top zipper. You're going to flip it so the wrong side is facing you and the right sides are together. And you're going to sandwich that zipper and the tab together. Okay, like this. And remember what I say, right? Use as many clips as you need to. It's all right. And of course you want both pieces, your lining and your exterior, to align here at the raw edges on the side and the top raw edges as well. Okay. So there it is. And now we're going to join these 3 pieces using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I am going to reduce my stitch length to 3 millimeters. And as you saw me, I moved the zipper pull away so that way it doesn't hit my needle and my zipper and my foot. And here it is. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so now we're going to top stitch this section that we just finished. And she said to make sure not to catch the lining. So I'm just going to, she said to press it, and you can press it at this point, but I am going to leave it like that and just top stitch this section and a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to do 3.5 millimeters. Top stitching also helps with this tab. It's another stitching, you know, besides the base, and then when you join the pieces together, and now the top stitch. So that helps. Okay. Now we're going to do the same process, but with the other side of the bag. And this time we're going to take our strap that we made, and this strap is actually going to be, let me see, this way? Yes, that way. So the right side facing down along the edge right here of the zipper. I'm just trying to think, how am I going to do this? So I put my, let me move this away. So the exterior, you know, will match right here with the zipper. And then I'll take this part and join it here. What did she say on the instructions? She says to go ahead and baste the strap right here, you know, on the other side of the zipper, which is this. And then she says to attach the other main panel exterior and lining to the other side of the zipper with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and to move the connector out of the way. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I'm going to take my exterior, move the connector out of the way, match it here to the edge, the raw edges here on the side. Okay. And here are the raw edges on this side. I'm not going to move that clip because that's the one holding my strap. I just want to test first before I run it through the needle that this is the right way because of the strap having 2 different sides. So I have my lining. I'm going to flip it. Sorry, this is the exterior with the pocket. I'm going to flip it over, and now I am going to join the other lining side. And say I stitched it, and when I open it, perfect. That's how it looks. But no, it won't be right, because when I do my strap, the strap is going to go this way. Well, to see, hold on. Yeah, no, the strap is gonna go that way, and I don't want that. I don't want that unless I do it this way, sorry. And it's not twisted. That's the most important part here, is that I don't want my strap to be twisted. And I want the pretty part of the strap to show like that. So I think I got it. I think it's right. Okay, so now that I know the right side for my strap, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to stitch the zipper to the exterior first and then add the lining. Okay, and making sure my strap, of course, is in the right direction, and that is not crooked. So make sure that your strap is, straight. You can align it here to the zipper tab and leave about 1 inch extra strap over the edge of the zipper and the exterior lining. You always want to leave extra fabric. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to stitch it the regular 1/4 inch seam allowance, 3 millimeters, and then add the lining same way.
So make sure your strap is not hanging from the table or anything like that, that it is actually straight. That is important because, that's how it's going to look when you're done, when you turn it inside out. Unless you want the strap to look tilted, then that's different. But if that's not the look that you're going for, then definitely make sure it's straight. And I'm just going to fold these and just put a clip here to kind of help it stay in place and not like dangle so much. Now the lining, and for that we look at the right side of the lining facing us, and we're going to put the other right side of the other lining against it. Okay, and now, oh, please don't tell me I put it wrong. Okay, well this is going to have to be the front and this is the back. Okay. I'm going to top stitch it the same way as I did the other piece, pressing it a little bit with my fingers or using this little tool. You can use a heat press, at this point. You can iron it, it's fine. And then I'm going to top stitch it and make sure I don't catch the lining. Four millimeters, 1/8 of an inch seam allowance for the top stitching. Beautiful. Yay. Okay. So far, so good, right? Here we have, this is going to be the exterior, and only because this part of the strap is showing here. But either way, when I wear it, I don't know how I'm going to wear it this way. Who cares? That's the two front pockets right there, and the top zipper. Okay. I find it strange that she said to not catch the lining on the top stitching. I don't know why, but I'm just following the instructions. I would have stitched everything, but I'm just following her instructions. So at this point, we have to join both exteriors and lining pieces to be almost done with making this bag. One thing I add to all of my purses is a key holder or key tab, and that is especially important for this purse because it doesn't have any inside pockets. So it has the two, well, in reality only has one zipper pocket in the front, but I'm adding a second one, and that's it. But I want to have a place to always have for my keys. That way I know for sure they're always in the right place. I should have added this prior to joining the zipper, the top zipper, but I forgot all about it, so we are going to do it now. What I did is that I took a piece of the binding or the strap, leftover fabric from when we made the strap, and it's, you know, an inch wide, and as you can see, it has the little hem, right, that we did. Let me make sure I can see if you see the light. So it has the folded hems on the side, and it's 1 inch wide. So I went ahead and folded the raw edges on both ends of the strap, and I'm using the leftover fabric that I have, but this is about 16 inches long. I'll take the raw edge and fold it by about 1/2 inch, and then fold the other edges to like the center of the strap of the strip of fabric and fold it in half. All the raw edges are tucked in, and I'm going to stitch it along both sides at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance before I join it to the lining side of the purse. And I'm going to lower the stitch length to 3 millimeters. Okay, you guys, so I just realized this is really long, and I already stitched all around it. So what I'm going to do, here's my swivel hook. I'm going to slide my swivel hook there, and I'm going to fold this by half, and my swivel hook is down there. And that is right like at the edge, at the bottom of the bag. And I'm going to now stitch the strap to the lining, and I'm only going to stitch it like around here, like 1/2 inch in this area. And then we're going to kind of close the loop a little bit and stitch it here. So actually, let me do that first. That will secure my swivel hook in place. Okay, so it's not going to move around. And I'm just going to stitch the other two parts of this strap right there. So holding it in place using your fingers, you're going to slide it under the machine here and just keeping it together. Okay, and there it is. The good thing about this is I could like maybe stitch another line here if I wanted to, or let me move this here. Could stitch another line here or here and use it to hold a pin, put a clip, a cavalier clip, and hold other things. I mean, that's some ideas on how to use this, but I just wanted to for my keys. That's it. Next, we have to make the corners here for the bottom of the purse. So the pattern says to cut out some darts in all four corners of the exterior and the lining. Okay, and she gives you a template that you can use. I don't know where my template is, so I'm just going to cut it the way I know how. Now, her template makes the corners of this purse look a little bit curvy, and I'm just going to make it square. So the way I know how to do this is we separate the exterior from the lining, okay? Make sure your straps are inside like this, and I can use a pin or something to kind of hold it together. So right sides together for the exterior and right sides together for the lining. And I do the same thing here. Use the pin or a clip to hold them together. That way they don't get cut in the seam when you're stitching your final product. So we are going to measure 1-inch squares here at the bottom on each corner. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Actually, 1 and a quarter, 1 and a quarter, and 1 and a quarter. That's what I'm gonna do to give it a 1/4 inch for the seam allowance. So 1 and a quarter right there. So we're going to open the top zipper, which it's already open. It doesn't have to be fully open, maybe a little more than half. And let's line up our exterior pieces and our lining pieces. So this is my lining. And this is super important right here. You see the zipper tabs. They need to be pulled towards the lining. So this is important when you are matching your pieces, your exterior and your linings together. This zipper tab, you need to push it down towards the lining, and you need to match the beginning and end of your exterior fabrics right there. So we're going to do the same on this side, right? So the zipper tab is pushed down, and we're matching our seams here where the exterior fabric begins, and we're just matching those. Make sure that they are aligned and they're not crooked. We're going to leave an opening here in the lining of approximately 5 inches. So I will mark 5 inches here in the center, roughly 5 inches. So that way I know that's where I will start and stop my stitching. And I'm going to mark it on both sides because I'm not really sure which side I'm going to be sewing. So just to be safe, there's my one and the other. Okay, so I know I will start and stop at one point around here. Just enough gap to help flip the purse inside out. And remember what I say, use as many clips as you need to. And if you're sick, have some cough drops too. Use as many as you need to. It's all right. It's better to have your fabric in place when you're sewing than having it all crooked when you're done realizing that it wasn't right. Another tip is make sure you move any of the zipper pulls to the center of your piece. You don't want the zipper pull to touch the edge of your fabric here, and then as you're stitching, hitting the metal. So just put it in the center like that, and that way it's away from the edges. And here, since I am sewing this with 2 zipper pockets, I don't want my zipper pockets to look crooked by the seam. So I am matching here the stitching and making sure that it's aligned. That gives it a, more professional look. And the same goes for this side. So just make sure that they match. You want all of your seams to match. Anywhere where you have 2 seams coming together on the side, on the top, wherever you want them to match. For the exterior fabric, we do not need to mark a gap. We're going to stitch all around. And use as many clips as you need. There is no shame on how many clips you can use. No shame on your clip game. I'm going to stitch all around the bag using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And when I get to the lining though, I will be stitching maybe a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance to just keep it nice and tucked in. And when I get to the corners, I'm going to stitch the corners. I'm going to ignore the markings just for right now. I'm going to stitch all around the corners like nothing, like the markings are not there. I'll cut the corners after I do the stitching. Okay. And I'm going to start here at the beginning of the opening that I have in my lining. Okay, so I finished joining all 4 pieces, the 2 exteriors and the 2 linings, leaving the opening here for the turn. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim the corners. To make the corners, all we're going to do is stick our hand in there, and we're going to open up the bag in the seam right here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to open it like that, and we're going to open the seam, and we're going to make it flat, and you will see the line right there matches. The 4 lines will match. You're going to put a pin right here on both sides like that. We're going to do the same on the other side. And we're going to do the same with the lining. Perfect. Next, we're going to stitch the corners along the marking lines. Okay. Just like that. And we're going to use 3mm stitch length, and we're going to stitch right on top of the lines. Okay. So where you did your marking, that's where you're going to stitch. One, Next, we're cutting the corners of that we just stitched together, okay? And you're going to cut them at about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitch line. Maybe a little more than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/4 inch, something in between that. But you don't want to cut it right at the stitch line, okay? Okay. Now, I think I'm gonna run it through the machine and do like a little reinforcement stitching there. It is definitely not recommended for vinyl. This vinyl has a backing, so it probably is okay. I just want to make sure my ends, my seam, it's reinforced, especially for the bottom of the bag. So let me go ahead and do that now. Now we're going to turn the bag inside out, also known as birthing the bag. And of course, this step usually takes a little time, so be patient with yourself. Sometimes I pull the strap through, and that helps because it kind of gives me something to work with as I'm pulling it through the hole. And don't worry, this is fabric, you're not going to break it. Now we're going to finish the strap, and for this I am going to need another slider. So I have two of the same sliders. You can use a D-ring here or an O-ring, but you will need a slider like this, definitely. And make sure the strap, in this case, make sure that it's straight, that it's not crooked, that it's not twisted, actually. So that it, make sure it's not twisted. And we're going to take one slider and you're going to insert the raw edge of your strap through the top of the slider, okay, and then down the slider. So here's the top, down the slider, okay, so here it is. Now you're going to push it away from the raw edge. You're going to take this raw edge again and you're going to insert it on the top side of your D-ring or O-ring or another slider. You're going to slide it through there, okay, and you're going to push it all the way up until you reach the first slider. You're going to move the strap away to give room to you, so you have some room like that. And you're going to make sure it's not twisted. You're going to introduce the raw edge of your strap through the bottom of the slider and up. So it's like that, right? And then this way. Okay, and this is how it's going to look. And this is how it looks on the back. You can close that now if you want. Flip your bag, and now we're going to sew this side. You can put a rivet here if you want. If you're using another type of vinyl. If you're using regular fabric, you can just fold it twice like that and stitch it. I am actually going to fold it once at about an inch wide here, and I'm going to stitch a square. I'm going to do a square and then the cross in the center. And our final step is to close the gap here in the lining. For that, we're going to take lining out, and we're going to fold it. And I am not very happy with this fusible vinyl. It's just coming off. Definitely not going to use this fusible vinyl again for this. I think I used the wrong edge of it. I don't know what happened, but I am not happy. It looks really bad. But okay. So make sure that you fold the raw edges in. Okay, and that they're together like that. And for this, you can change the thread color, and actually I'm going to do that so that it matches my lining and it doesn't like stand out too much, because this this color, the wine color, is just too dark, and it's you're really gonna be able to see it, and I don't want to see it. So make sure you change your thread, top and bobbin to match your fabric, and go ahead and stitch it at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, 2.5 to 3 millimeters, really close to the edge, and that should do it for this bag.
I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I hope you make plenty of the Koda Crossbody bags. Believe me, once you make the first one, you are going to make many more. And make sure to check out my other videos right here, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Ciao.